Hey guys, I'm back again, and you're probably thinking you've already heard this microphone, why does it sound so bad? Well, what we're going to do today is something different. We're going to make this microphone sound a hell of a lot better, and what we're going to do is going to rip out the guts of this thing and start again. So what we're going to do is put this little tiny Electret microphone inside this microphone here. So I'm going to go inside the barrel and I'm going to rip out everything in there, and I'm going to put in a little circuit which will convert phantom power to a different voltage, to a lower voltage, to run these little microphones safely. And then we're going to do another test to hear what the sound is like. Now, I opened up this microphone and unfortunately it is not a balanced microphone. It doesn't have a transformer in it or any other type of circuitry for that matter. You've just got your microphone, it's a dynamic microphone capsule, whatever you want to call it, and it just goes straight into pin number 2 for the hot lead, and then all the rest of the pins are all joined to ground. And I thought there might be something wrong with the microphone, but I really don't think there is. It's probably just a poor quality microphone. Like I said in one of the previous videos, this microphone is around $30 in the shop. And one of the other things about this dodgy microphone here is that it feels really heavy, and it feels quite solid. It's all metal. You know, it looks like a good microphone, and there's no sharp edges and everything. Everything's machined nicely. However, when I looked inside the microphone, and I'll do some pictures after this, the microphone has looks like some type of iron weight glued to the barrel right about in the middle section there. So there you go. Now, what can I expect from this thing? I didn't pay for it, but what we're going to do is try to make it sound a little bit better. And why throw away a good case when you can change it? So we'll just stop this video. I'll change up these parts and re-gut this thing and see what it sounds like. Actually, before I do that, I'll just add another clip here and I'll show you guys what it looks like inside this microphone at this time. So yeah, we'll be back soon.
So this is a picture of what was inside the microphone. On the left we have the weight. Now that's the iron weight. It may not be iron, but it's quite heavy. Almost weighs as much as the aluminium casing on the microphone. And then to the right of that we've got the screw that holds in the XLR connector. You can see that the XLR3 male connector there. And you can see that the hot wire is on pin number 2, and then the ground wire just goes to every other pin on there. In the middle there, you've got a bunch of screws that hold in the switch. There's an on and off switch. You can see that the microphone capsule is actually wired too, and then the other stuff in the middle there with that little sort of black pad, and then the metal bit, which is sort of like a U-shaped metal piece. That's just a fancy part that goes on top of the switch, so it makes it look somewhat sort of like seamless or streamlined with the microphone itself. And this is pretty much it. So this is what's inside the microphone. So now that I've got this thing apart, what I'll do is I will create the phantom power circuit so we can mount the Electret microphone, and we'll see how that turns out. And we're back, and we've got our microphone revamped and redone. So what I'm talking on now is actually an Electret condenser microphone, and it's just like this little tiny insert that's inside here now. We've created the phantom power conversion circuit, which actually does two things. It lets us run the microphone through phantom power, running 48 volts into it and then running roughly about 8.5 to 9 volts to the microphone capsule. And it also converts the signal from an unbalanced signal to a balanced signal, so then we can run it straight into a mixer and have all the benefits of a professional microphone with these small little tiny Electret microphones here. And let's just go through a few pictures and talk about how this was created. So the first one we're going to look at is the circuit. Now this is full on ghetto style, I know, there's no circuit board, but what I had to do was make sure that I made it small enough and narrow enough to fit inside the microphone barrel. Now it fits in there perfectly, and I used some epoxy all the way over it just to keep the components together so they don't move at all, even though it's quite rigid. And then after that, what I've done is I've wrapped it in some tape, and I've joined it to the XLR connector, the male connector for the microphone, and then the other end goes to that part that looks like a barrel. Now that's actually part of the original microphone, which held the original dynamic capsule in place, or dynamic element I should say. So what I did is I just pulled that off the dynamic microphone so it sits in there nicely, drilled a hole through it, and I actually mounted a headphone jack, or a headphone plug I should say, Actually, I should probably say a headphone socket. So a 3.5mm stereo socket. Now you don't need a stereo, but that's what they had at the electronics store. So I've mounted that in there, so then I can mount these little tiny microphones onto 3.5mm stereo plugs. That way, what I can do is I can have different capsules, because these microphones come in different variations of them. So if we have a look at how it mounts in there, it just goes in there like you would plug in like a headphone jack or something like that. It just plugs in, and that gives me the opportunity to change them out to different type of microphones when I want to try out different ones. Now, if we look at the picture now, you can see it's just like a plug. So the reason why I did that is because Electret microphones come in a few variations. Now, one of the variations is the one I'm talking on right now, which is an omni pickup pattern. That means it picks up the signal from right around 360 degrees, and it's doing quite a good job. You can also get a unidirectional, which is basically a cardioid pattern, so it's only going to pick up things from right in front of the microphone, reject the sides, and reject the back. And you can also get noise cancelling Electret microphones, and what they do is they only pick up noise that has to be a certain distance away from the microphone, so you have to be quite close to it, and it will reject all ambient noise like wind. A lot of the microphones that they use those for, the noise cancelling ones, are like in phones, like hands-free car kits, for your cell phones or mobile phones, they call them here in Australia. Those type of microphones, you'll notice that when you're talking or when people are listening to you, you can't hear the engine noise or the road noise. And that's what they're for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a few of those microphones. I've actually got them on order. I've got a unidirectional and a noise cancelling microphone. I'm going to mount them in these little 3.5mm stereo plugs so I can try out different ones with this microphone barrel here. But then again, the purpose of this is if you have a microphone that's cheap and dodgy and you want to use it, you've got a good barrel like this here, then, this is roughly about, I guess, altogether $11, $12 worth of parts, really. And you can have your microphone redone, resurrected, and working for you. So thanks again for checking out my video, and catch you next time.